Two different countries, two generational talent pools, two collapses, and one manager standing at the center of both. Roberto Martinez has now done something almost no coach in modern football has done. He has taken two separate golden generations, two groups of players considered among the most talented ever assembled by their nations, and produced nothing with either of them. This is not a story about bad luck. Bad luck happens once. It does not happen twice with two different countries, two different squads, and two sets of some of the most talented players their nations have ever produced. This is a pattern, and patterns are the only thing worth paying attention to when you are trying to understand why elite talent keeps falling short. Start with Belgium, Kevin De Bruyne, Eden Hazard, Romelu Lukaku, Thibaut Courtois, a generation so talented that Belgium reached the #1 ranking in the entire world under Martinez. #1. Above Brazil, above France, above every football nation on the planet. They finished third at the 2018 World Cup, their best result in decades. Then came the tournaments that mattered most. Euro 2020, a quarter-final exit. The 2022 World Cup, a group stage elimination. Belgium ranked second in the world at the time, going out without even reaching the knockout rounds. Martinez stepped down immediately afterward, saying simply that he could not carry on. A golden generation, statistically the most gifted group of players Belgium has ever produced, retired from international football with nothing to show for it at the tournaments that count. Now look at Portugal, Cristiano Ronaldo's final World Cup, a squad featuring Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, and one of the deepest midfields at the entire 2026 tournament. Martinez had already won the Nations League with this group in 2025, proof the talent and the system could produce results. Expectation was enormous. This was supposed to be the tournament where it all came together. Round of 16, Spain. A largely forgettable 90 minutes, and then Mikel Merino broke through into stoppage time to send Portugal home. Martinez resigned within minutes of the final whistle. His own words afterward were direct. He said he came to Portugal to win the World Cup, and without winning it, there was no point in continuing. Two golden generations, two managers' resignations, immediate, self-initiated, almost identical in timing and tone. This is where the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. So what is actually happening here? Why does a manager capable of building a genuinely dominant system, one that reaches world #1 and wins continental trophies, repeatedly fall short at the exact moment the biggest prize is within reach? This is not about tactics in the traditional sense. Martinez is not an incompetent coach. He built genuinely excellent systems at both national teams, systems good enough to reach a world #1 ranking and win a Nations League title. The problem is not his football knowledge. The problem is what happens specifically when his system meets a roster of generational individual talent under maximum pressure. There is a recurring symptom across both collapses, an inability to adjust in the moment when the biggest games demand it. Belgium's most gifted attacking talents, Hazard and Lukaku, were used as late substitutes in a scoreless elimination match they desperately needed to win, rather than starters from the opening whistle. Portugal's biggest individual weapon, addressed in detail in our previous video on this exact subject, stayed on the pitch in a role that no longer matched what he could physically provide at this stage of his career. Both cases share the same underlying pattern: elite individual talent, managed through a rigid structural approach that does not bend when the moment requires flexibility instead of consistency. Great club managers who succeed with generational talent tend to share one trait. They build systems around what their best players do brilliantly, and they adjust that system ruthlessly when the situation changes mid-tournament. Martinez appears to build systems first, then ask his most talented players to fit inside them, even when the biggest moments call for the opposite approach entirely. This is not a story about a bad manager. Martinez has a Nations League title and a World Cup semi-final appearance on his coaching resume. This is a story about a specific psychological pattern that surfaces only when he is handed the most gifted players in a nation's history and asked to turn that talent into a trophy. Two golden generations, two collapses at the exact moment history was there to be made. The players changed, the country changed, the language changed, The pattern did not, and that is exactly what makes it worth understanding, not dismissing.